Hey guys, today I'm going to be giving you the final update on the Jeep. This is going to be a pretty quick update. As you guys can see, it's looking a whole lot better than what it did before. And if you guys haven't watched the two previous videos I made on this Jeep that have been updating you guys along the way of rebuilding or restoring this thing a little bit, giving it some TLC to look better and to be better, basically, go check them out, and I'll give you this time to go ahead and check those videos out. Okay, you better go check those videos out, because now I'm going to be talking about what's all happened on this thing and what still needs to happen for another person to take care of. One, I did repair the hood. Actually, I just painted it from the last time you guys saw it. It doesn't match at all, but this hood's never going to be perfect. And honestly, this Jeep cosmetically is not in the best of shape, and this looks a whole lot better than what it did before. I also touched up some other rust spots on the rest of the hood. Let's see. The door doesn't match. That's because this is not the original door to this Jeep. If you guys remember, there was a huge a rust spot right here. Well, I started sanding away the paint, and a huge rust hole ended up forming about like right here, about 2 inches in diameter, and that was the end of that. I'm like, screw it, I'm just gonna take the door, the extra door that we had laying in the backyard. Yes, we had already bought a door for this thing to put on, but we never got around to doing it because the molding wasn't the same. Well, we ended up finding out that this molding was interchangeable, so we swapped this molding from the other door onto this door, and it ended up looking okay. Paint doesn't match, like I said, but the door panel went on actually pretty difficultly. I actually had to cut off the little metal tab in there. There's a metal tab that goes right about here. And on this door, on the old Jeeps, because this is not a 98 Jeep Grand Cherokee door, this is an older Jeep Grand Cherokee door, there's a little metal bracket that goes like right here on the old ones. Well, that metal bracket actually goes here on the newer ones, and I cut the rivets off, let me see, tack welds off, I'm sorry. I drilled those out and ended up putting the new bracket right here, and I actually somehow got it in the exact place. I did measure and everything, but I didn't think I would get it perfect. I got it absolutely perfect. As soon as I put that door panel on, there's a screw that goes through the door panel. Gotta open the door again to show you guys. There's a metal screw that goes right through this panel right here, and it lined up exactly with that hole. So I'm kind of proud of myself. Yes, I am full of myself. No, I'm not. But that was amazing that actually lined up. Just saying, for what kind of measurements I took. Literally with a ruler. Just with a Sharpie and a ruler. I'm like, okay, that's about where it needs to be. I got lucky. So, anyway, let's get back to talking about the things that have changed. Obviously, this hasn't changed. It's always worked, but it's very important that this tailgate works. The shocks don't work, though. I think it's a very important selling point, because I don't know how often these still work on these old Jeeps, and the fact that it's just convenient to have working. Yes, it is convenient to have hood shocks, but those are relatively cheap to get, or hatch shocks. But, we kind of want this thing, to go. Missing spare tire will affect the price a little bit. We will take that into consideration while asking price. I need to vacuum the interior a little bit more. Well, not more. I never vacuumed it in the first place. I need to vacuum the interior. It does look like crap. I'm probably not going to take any of the stains out, because whoever's going to be buying this thing more than likely is not going to care too much about the stains, but the crap everywhere is not looking good. So I'm going to vacuum it at least. This is a pretty bad rust spot. This is probably the worst of the rust on this Jeep right here, honestly. So I ended up touching that up with a little bit of paint too, hopefully to prevent the further corrosion for at least a little while. You're never ever gonna stop it. It's just how it is up here in New York, but you're never ever going to stop it. Rust, it's inevitable. at least if you're driving in the salt. So eventually, sooner or later, it will come back and it will, you know, destroy your vehicle, the frame, or the body so bad that it's not even, you can't even really drive it anymore. But this Jeep is in great shape. For most of the Jeeps up here, most of the time, probably the rockers under here are gone, which these rockers are completely intact. I mean, it's just starting to show some early signs of rust. You guys can see the frame in there. If I can get you guys to see it here, the camera isn't really focusing. There you go, that nice black frame, and the frame going up there. Yes, it is a unibody frame, I believe. That's the correct phrasing for it, because it is not a body on frame, which I actually did not know until not too long ago. I always thought this was a body on frame, but it is not. It is one big piece. So I did not know that. It's very interesting to know. Fun fact for you guys. I didn't know if you guys knew that or not. Most of you probably do, but I certainly didn't. So, yep. I mean, that's about all I did of this thing since the previous video. I did end up cleaning it. It made it look a whole lot better than what it did before. I did put these sway bar links, which I did show you guys in the previous video, were off. Now they're on and look pretty good. I did do an oil change on this thing. I filled the coolant, which I'll be showing you guys in just a second. And let me go ahead and start this thing up so you guys can hear the massive exhaust leak that this thing has, which we are probably not going to be repairing. Kind of just want this thing gone. It's been here for too long and just sitting around doing nothing, and it'll make somebody a good vehicle. Relatively low mileage for the year. It does have the check engine light on, so you just started right up there. That's a P0442 code for an evap leak, and so hopefully I said that right at least. Horn sort of works. It kind of sounds like a clown car, but it works. And obviously we have something else going on, which is the washer fluid is low, so I'll probably fill that up. But it says the coolant sensor is bad. The one going to the coolant tank is bad. That's why it has, sometimes this message sender can get really annoying because some of the stuff in there really isn't accurate. And so, whatever. And just filled it up with gas. It has a lot more gas now. It's almost 3/4 of a tank. And yes, it is already up to temp. I had to move it from the backyard, and then that process I ended up heating it. And also from multiple takes of this video, I ended up heating it up. So, you know, that happens. This is like the 15th take. No, I'm exaggerating, but still. I've taken a lot of takes this video because apparently I can't speak today. And I just want to let you guys know that, so, because I'm trying to get through this as best as I can, because it is not good. And I'm planning on making another video today, so that's not good either. So it's good for you guys, but not good for me, to the fact that I can't talk today. And here you go. Here's your under the hood. You guys have seen this before, but I don't think you guys have ever seen this thing run. I might be wrong, but I don't think you guys ever seen this thing run. And it runs pretty good. This is my makeshift battery hold down. Yes, it looks sketchy as hell, but it does work. It works actually pretty good. So, yeah. That's a redneck fix right there if I've ever seen one. This is actually the original bolt. This is obviously not the original bolt. There's actually a little square end, so you can take this out. It's about hand tight right now. I'm going to actually put that down a little bit just so that it's nice and tight. You guys can see that battery isn't going anywhere. This is nice and tight to the battery. And yes, it's redneck once again, but it's going to work. There's your coolant tank with the brand new coolant in there. And brand new oil in the engine, brand new filter. Some of the brake fluid is new because I did end up changing the brakes, but not all of the brake fluid went leaking out. Brand new transmission fluid for the most part. It does have a small leak, but over years it's just drained it all out. And I did use fully synthetic. That is good transmission fluid for this Jeep. I did not put crappy stuff in here that the Jeep does not like. And that's original power steering fluid. That's about the only original fluid in this Jeep right now is the power steering fluid, which is pretty amazing, but it's good. It's got all new life in it, so I think this Jeep's ready to go. I mean, honestly, pretty much as it sits, I think this thing's ready to be a daily driver. It just needs a windshield, it needs exhaust work, and it could use a new new stem, valve stem for this tire. This is leaking a little bit. It's a slow leak, so you can fill it up and, you know, just roll with it. It's actually stopped leaking at this particular PSI. I'm sure it's still slowly leaking, but it's a lot slower than what it was before, because you can actually hear the leak coming out of this valve stem. So I think it's finally balanced itself out, and you guys can see it's a little bit flat, and I haven't checked the PSI on this tire, but it's not too bad. So as you guys can hear, this thing's running pretty good. It's got that exhaust leak, of course, but what are you gonna do? I probably should address this. I'm gonna try to work this out. I use scrub brushes, I use alcohol. This is a really nasty stain. I'm gonna try probably some type of acid, maybe? I don't know. I don't know what the heck I'm gonna try on this. I'll try to get it off, but it's really a nasty stain. And even my nail can't really get it off, so that's really nasty. But let me go ahead and end this video now. This is pretty much the final update on this Jeep. And I hope you guys enjoyed this little series. And I don't know if I ever talked about the last time it was on the road. The last time it was inspected was, you have to go a year before this. So the last time it was inspected was actually in 2015. The inspection ran out in May of 2016. And this thing was probably off the road about February of 16. So it's been about solid 4 years since this thing's been on the road. Registration tag also backs me up on that. So, alright, well, see you guys in the next video. Like, comment, subscribe. And I hope you guys enjoyed this little series on this Jeep. Bye-bye, everybody.